There are a lot of strong weapons in Borderlands 4, and they are very easy to miss if you don't know where to look for them. So in this video, I want to show you the best legendary weapons that you don't want to miss in Borderlands 4. But first, if you enjoy this video and want to see more Borderlands 4 videos just like this one, subscribe to this channel. Now let's start this video off with a very strong legendary shotgun. To get it, you will need to go to the Craven's Nook Order bunker, which can be found right here on your map. Now this will be a very simple bunker. All you will need to do is head inside and clear out the enemies to get to the final boss. That boss will be Callous Harbinger of Annihilating Death. This boss shouldn't be that hard to deal with, especially if you're using shock and corrosive weapons, as those are his weaknesses. But Callous can drop 3 really good legendary weapons, so even if you don't get the one that I'm about to show you, you will still get something strong as a reward for farming this boss. But the legendary shotgun that we want from this boss is the legendary Hot Slugger. Since I got the Hot Slugger, I haven't really been using anything else. It's just a very strong weapon and it's hard to put it down. The legendary perk on the Hot Slugger will give you a 30% damage buff for 10 seconds after killing an enemy. This buff will stack up to 3 times for a total of 90% increased damage. It's also a Jacob's weapon, which will make critical hits ricochet and hit other nearby targets, meaning you can easily shoot the Hot Slugger into a crowd of enemies, and because of its high damage output, it would kill the first enemy, then bounce to a second and kill them. Then you can quickly shoot a third enemy and you'll have your 90% damage increase that you can use against a boss. And paired with rep kits that have the amp perk, which gives you a 200% damage increase on your next shot, you can build up a very high damage dealing shot, and you can take it even further if you're playing as Rafa. The Hot Slugger is a must-have weapon. The next weapon on the list is also a very powerful weapon. To get it, you will need to go to the Saw's Clench Ripper drill site right here on your map. The Saw's Clench drill site can be a little harder to farm as there are a lot of enemies here and 3 bosses, so you may need more of a put together build to farm this drill site efficiently. But it's worth doing because the bosses here can drop one of the best assault rifles in the game, and that will be the Wombo Combo. I got my first Wombo Combo at around level 15, and it was my primary weapon until around level 30 to 32. Even though it was very underleveled, it still chewed through enemies and made most boss fights extremely easy. And that's due to its high rate of fire and decent damage, but also the legendary perk on it, which will make the Wombo Combo automatically fire rip rockets, and those rip rockets will deal high amounts of damage. This may sound like a basic underbarrel attachment that you can find on most weapons, but where the Wombo Combo is different is that you don't have to activate the rip rockets. They will just automatically be fired out of the gun every time you fire 5 bullets. So every 5th bullet fired from the Wombo Combo is instead a high damage dealing rip rocket. Due to this, you will want to hunt down a Wombo Combo that has a large magazine size, to be able to fire more rip rockets without needing to reload. The next weapon on the list isn't exactly a weapon. It's a legendary shield, but it will do more damage than most weapons. The shield that I'm talking about is the legendary Firework shield. Now the legendary perk on this shield will make it an ad clearing beast. Basically, whenever you kill an enemy that is standing near another enemy, it will explode and missiles will come out of the first enemy that you kill. Those missiles will then seek out that nearby enemy and deal high amounts of damage to them, usually enough to kill that enemy, which will then reactivate the missiles and start it all over again. You can also find versions of this shield that will release extra missiles when segments of your shield break. And you can build your character around 3 pieces of airstrike firmware. The 3-piece bonus for the airstrike firmware will make you drop a missile strike on nearby enemies every time you get a kill. So with the Firework shield and the airstrike firmware, you can create a very powerful and simple build to use to clear out a lot of enemies very quickly. To get the Firework shield, you will just need to farm the Splash Zone boss, who can be found right here on your map and is a very easy boss to farm. The next 2 legendary weapons in this video both have a chance to drop from the same boss, and that boss will be Driller Hole, which can be found right here on your map. Driller Hole is a pretty easy boss to farm and you shouldn't have too many issues with him. But like I said, he drops two very good legendary weapons. The first is the GMR Assault Rifle. The GMR is a strong assault rifle that will fire in full auto when firing from the hip, but the legendary perk on this weapon will increase its damage by 100%, make it consume 2 times as much ammo, and reduce its fire rate by 50% when you're aiming down the sights, allowing for harder hitting and more controlled accurate shots. The second weapon that Driller Hole can drop is the Katagawa's Revenge. The Katagawa's Revenge is a good sniper rifle that can do high elemental damage, and that's because of the perk on it that allows it to switch between shock and fire modes. The shock mode will spawn storm clouds around the target that you shoot, that will act as turrets that do shock damage to all nearby enemies. And the fire mode will make fire clouds that will slowly fall to the ground, and when they touch the ground they will explode, dealing high fire damage. The next 2 weapons on the list will also come from the same boss. That boss will be Idolator Soul, who can be found right here on your map. Now this boss will be a little trickier to farm than Driller Hole, because if you can't kill Soul quickly, then you'll have to deal with the mechanics of the fight, which will take longer, but it's still not a hard boss to farm. Idolator Soul can drop 3 legendary weapons. Each one of them is very good, but the 2 that we want are the Onslaught SMG and the Golden God shotgun. The Onslaught is one of the best SMGs in Borderlands 4. It will already be a good weapon with a COV mag and its decent rate of fire, but the perk on it will give it a 30% chance to make every bullet fired from the weapon not consume ammo and do extra damage. The Golden God is an amazing legendary shotgun. Again, it will have a high rate of fire and high base damage, but the legendary perk on it prevents the weapon from breaking when it overheats. Instead, when it overheats, you'll still be able to fire it, it will just consume a lot more ammo, meaning you can continuously fire this shotgun until you completely run out of ammo for it. To get the next weapon on the list, head over to the Trinket Crevasse Auger Mine, which will be right here on your map. At the end of this auger mine, you will encounter the boss Rock'n'Roller. This boss is more annoying than it is difficult, as the boss will continuously be rolling into you and knocking you around. It's also a vile boss, so make sure you bring an explosive weapon or something that does splash damage to knock the crystals off of it quickly. But Rock'n'Roller can drop one of the strongest pistols in Borderlands 4, which is the Saba songbird. This is a powerful Jacob's pistol that can do high crit damage, but what makes it useful is the perk on it, which will increase your damage by 100% for 5 seconds after swapping guns. To get the next weapon on the list, you will need to go to Carcadia and start the side quest called Enter the Electi Part 1. This will start a storyline that will have 5 different missions in it. These won't be too long of missions, but doing all 5 of these is required to get the next weapon. At the end of this quest chain, you will encounter the boss leader Willem, who you will then be able to farm to get another very strong legendary shotgun, which will be the Rainbow Vomit. The Rainbow Vomit is a strong elemental shotgun that has a high base damage, but the perk on it will make the weapon fire a colorful ball that will do 3 different types of elemental damage, which will be based on the elements on the version of the weapon that you get, making it a great weapon to carry around that will be able to deal with any enemy that you encounter. And to get the final weapon on the list, you will need to farm the boss Arrigo, which you can find right here on your map. This boss can drop a few different legendaries, but the one that we're after is the legendary Chaosin SMG. The legendary perk on this weapon will make it always drop with Torg's sticky grenades and the Atlas tracker grenade underbarrel. This combination allows you to fire the tracker at your enemy to make all of your sticky grenades hit your target. And then you can reload to detonate those sticky grenades, which will do a huge burst of damage very quickly. And those are a bunch of the best legendary guns that you don't want to miss in Borderlands 4. But I would love to know what your favorite legendary guns are in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for watching.